let's talk all about my second trimester of pregnancy. If you are new here, I am currently pregnant with baby number 2, and I am 28 weeks today. So I can actually talk about my full second trimester right now, all of the symptoms, everything I've been feeling, and wait till the end of this video because I'm going to be answering questions directly from you guys about what this pregnancy has been like so far. As you can see, it's fall in the Roth household. We've got a fall picture on our TV. We've got fall clothes. We've got fall decor. It might be 100 degrees out in Florida, but it is fall in my heart, and that's what matters. I'm really excited to share all about what this second trimester of my pregnancy has been like. And here on my channel, we talk about classic living and traditional values. And lately, I've been focusing a lot more on homemaking and motherhood. Those have been my interests lately. And so I've really wanted to share those with you because I'm really passionate about homemaking and motherhood. In today's modern era, I think that it is a lost art. And so I am constantly looking for ways to fulfill our potential as women at home and ways to enjoy making our houses into homes and really just embracing this kind of feminine lifestyle. So I'm really excited to share all of that with you. If you subscribe, then you will get to see all of my videos whenever they're posted, but I want to get right into my pregnancy, onto my second trimester symptoms, so let's get started. So if you watched my first trimester video, which I will have linked up here somewhere, you will know that I had morning sickness between 5 weeks and 13 weeks. So I had 8 weeks of being sick, did not love it. I mean, I don't know anyone who likes morning sickness, but I really don't like morning sickness. I felt a lot better starting around 13 weeks, but the exhaustion that I felt in the first trimester didn't really pass until about 16 weeks. So I was still taking long naps in the middle of the day. Even though I felt better, I was still tired. But once we hit 16 weeks, I started to feel a lot better. Now, this pregnancy has been different than my first because in my first pregnancy, your body's still fresh and new and doesn't know how to do all this yet. So it's kind of like, it's just interesting and fun. You're taking in all this new information about this incredible thing that your body is accomplishing, that you're growing a human inside of you. It's so exciting. This time around, I feel like I haven't been as comfortable. And so my glowing trimester. They say the second trimester is supposed to be the trimester where you're glowing and it's easy and it's wonderful. That for me was really only from about 16 weeks to 24 weeks as opposed to 16 to 28. I would say I've had a lot of uncomfortable symptoms this pregnancy, but nothing terrible in the sense that I can still be around for my son and I'm, for the most part feeling pretty good, but not nearly as good as in the first one. So one of the pregnancy symptoms that I have had is sciatica. And I think I got it really early this pregnancy. I had sciatica at maybe 10 weeks. And I don't know what that was. I don't know if it's just the position of my uterus, whatever it is, but just pain on my right side, in my right hip. And that has been pretty consistent throughout. Although I will say there are some days I barely feel it at all. And then there are some days where I'm like, oh, I can't walk. When we were with my family on our family reunion, I actually pulled a muscle in my back and the sciatica on that side. I woke up one morning and I legitimately couldn't walk. Thank goodness I was able to do some pressure points and stretches and I was able to work that out. But for about a week and a half after that, it was great. It was useful to get a prenatal massage. Highly recommend those, by the way. I started to feel baby kicks this time around by about 18, 20 weeks. This one is he's a little mover and groover, which we love. That is the same exact thing as it was with my first boy. Little man, he was also always moving around in there, which if you know anything about being pregnant, it is a huge relief when your baby moves a lot because there is a concern that if your baby stops moving, you would have to go to the hospital, just make sure everything's okay. But if your baby is an active baby like mine happened to be, you don't have that same concern because my sons move around a lot, which is lovely. It's very reassuring. And so this boy, he has been moving and grooving since about 19 weeks, I think. And he's, sitting on the right side, but he moves around. Currently, I found out he's currently head down. Not that that matters at 28 weeks, but I'll take it. Please God, it stays that way. And he's just super fun. I do think he has his days and nights mixed up as of right now. He moves during the day, don't get me wrong, but at night it's like, what's up? Like, let's hang out. So I actually had stretch marks in my first pregnancy. I know a lot of women, swear by all these oils and lotions. It's genetic. If you're gonna get stretch marks, you're gonna get stretch marks. I got stretch marks in my first pregnancy, and I think I have more this time around too. I fully expect and anticipate that I will get more stretch marks with each subsequent pregnancy. I used to care about it. Nowadays, I don't. I'm like, you know what? I'm growing a person, and this is a battle wound, a battle scar, whatever you want to call it. But it's honestly a really cool thing that my body can do. So if I happen to get stretch marks afterwards, that's okay. I'm going to be using some oils that some people I follow online recommend, some, different lotions, whatever, but they're never gonna go away completely. It's just a part of who I am now and the fact that I bore children, and that's okay. Now, I recognize that's a difficult one, and I think I even have a question about that I'm gonna answer at the end of this video, just about how you deal with stuff like that. But what I'll say is, right now, it's just so not a concern because there's nothing you can do about it. And my husband thinks I'm beautiful. If I continue to eat healthy and try my best to be fit and exercise, that's the stuff that matters. And the only person who is seeing my stomach is my husband, and he knows what those stretch marks are from. So he loves me for that. And that's a wonderful thing. Spider veins. I have spider veins in my legs. Now, what's funny is that I actually had spider veins before I ever had babies. I had a few spider veins in my legs, but this pregnancy, I definitely developed more. I don't have varicose veins, thank God, because I know that those can be uncomfortable, but I just have little spider veins all over my legs. So we'll see if those go away after pregnancy. And they're not the most attractive thing in the world, but they're also not painful. They're not terrible. They are what they are, and that's fine. So in the second trimester, we have had far fewer, maybe even one ultrasound. I think we've had one ultrasound in the second trimester. In the first trimester, if you watch my first video about this, we had like an inordinate amount of ultrasounds, but this trimester we've only had, I think, one. So the baby's sounding great on the Doppler. You can hear his heartbeat, and it's very strong, and he's moving a lot. But I'm super excited because I think our next ultrasound, we get to do the 3D ultrasound, and I'm so curious to know whether this baby looks like our first son. I'm so curious. So let's talk about my feelings a little bit this time around and how I've been feeling in the second trimester. I will say this pregnancy, as compared to my first pregnancy, I'm so much less worried about how things are going. First trimester is always stressful. You just don't know exactly how things are gonna turn out. And after my miscarriage, it's a concern. You just don't know how your first trimester is gonna turn out. But in the second trimester, I don't really have the time to worry about things like I did the first time around because I have a son to take care of. I have a household to take care of. And so it's nice. Like, you're not thinking about it all the time. You're just kind of enjoying it. And I'm not worried nearly as much. And that's a very comforting feeling. Also, just seeing your belly grow and knowing your body is doing something good and strong and healthy, I felt more confident in this pregnancy than I did the first time around. As far as baby number 2, like bringing in another baby into the house, I would say that's the thing I've been struggling with the most, is the emotions around that, because I just love my son so much, and it breaks my heart to think that he's gonna think I'm not with him as much or that I don't love him as much. But the truth is, he will love having a sibling. Like, he's so extroverted. He's going to love having a sibling. And I know that it's going to be so much more important for him to have brothers and sisters than it is for me to have this like very directed relationship with him for his entire childhood. I want him to have a family and not just parents. But it is hard to imagine what that's gonna look like, because we're now in a really good rhythm, we have a good routine, and I know that's all gonna go out the window in a few months. And it's very emotional just thinking about how your first becomes your oldest as opposed to your only. And I am, wrapping my head around that. I think every parent goes through this as they have their future children. And I think part of it is just that until this baby is born, he's a stranger to me in a sense. Trying to imagine what you're gonna feel for a person you've never met, it's impossible. So I know that I love this baby. Of course I love this baby, but I also have never met this baby. So picturing loving two people this much is so difficult, and you can't really do it. And I know that that's just part and parcel of parenthood and having a second child. I definitely had this even more so, this fear even more so this past week, because I got the flu. I was feeling awful. And then at the same time, my son came down with something totally different, but he was spiking 104 fevers. He had colds. He needed me to be with him like constantly. So I was with him in the middle of the night, wasn't sleeping. I was holding him for all of his naps. And I remember thinking during this whole period, like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to give him my full attention with a newborn if he needs me at some point? And that's why we moved near family, is I will be able to give him my full attention if my mom is here to help. We'll have hands on deck. My husband can help, of course. He works during the day though. So, realistically, how do I get it done during the day? And it's having a support system. It's having a village. And this is what gets me. This is a little off topic, but it gets me these jokes that you see online about like, okay, I had my baby, where's my village? And it's like, your village doesn't just all of a sudden pop into existence when you have a child. You have to cultivate that. You have to choose to be part of a village that will then come and support you when you're going through the nitty-gritty of parenting, right? So when we had our son, it was very clear to us, we need to live near family, we need to be part of a Jewish community, and that has been such a blessing for us because we have friends who will come and drop off care packages. We have my parents, we have Jacob's parents, we have siblings, we have people who can come over and help as needed because we put that village into place. So that's the thing I always have to remember, is I tend to go into this very modern nuclear family ideal of like, well, it's all gonna be on me. How am I gonna get it all done? And that's just not really how it's supposed to be. And that's not how we've created our life, thank God. We are going to have support. We are going to have help, especially in those few first months when things are adjusting and are so difficult. We will have help, and I don't have to be alone in this. So that's a very helpful and good reminder when I start to get a little more overwhelmed. As far as my weight gain, I know that I am always curious how much people are gaining during pregnancy, because I know that there's a lot of different levels. I mean, some people gain 50 pounds, some people gain 15 pounds. It just depends on the person. As long as your doctor thinks it's healthy, you're good. And so my weight gain in this pregnancy so far has been 22 pounds. So I'm 28 weeks along, 22 pounds. With my first pregnancy, I gained 35 pounds. I anticipate that I'll probably gain around the same amount this time. And I ended up losing 30 of the 35 pounds, and I never lost those extra 5 pounds because I was breastfeeding the entire time, right up until I got pregnant. So that's just, I think, what's gonna be kind of what my pregnancies look like, but we'll see. We'll see how the pregnancy progresses. I will say that as I get more pregnant, I get less hungry. So I don't tend to gain as much weight actually in the last trimester as I do in the earlier trimesters, but we'll see. So I'm going to show you what the bump looks like currently. It looks like this. It's definitely there. It's not too big yet, I think. I mean, some people might think this is really big, but for me, it was actually more uncomfortable earlier in this trimester than it is right now. And I started wearing a maternity band. That really helps. But this is my bump, and I'm very happy because it just means that the baby's growing well. Okay, so let's get into some of your guys' questions. So the first question we have is a general question. How do you embrace the changes in your body and weight? And I kind of mentioned this earlier, but I would say that this time around, I felt less confident in my body than I did the first time around. Probably again, because in the first time, it's just a miracle. You just can't believe that your body's doing this. It's amazing. The second time around, you've done it before. So you're a little more like, oh yeah, this is a really cool thing that my body does. I'm so grateful, but like, it's not as mind-blowing the second time around. But I will say the thing that really has made a difference for me is exercising and getting my steps in and eating healthy. When I do those things, I don't feel bad about how my body looks. I have no issues because I'm like, you know what? I'm doing what I can to stay fit, to stay healthy, and that's good for me and the baby. If I just eat whatever I want and never exercise and just sit all day, then I start to feel a little more self-conscious about how my body looks. Even if my body looks literally exactly the same, it's like a mental game. So that's been the best way for me to feel confident and strong in my body and not be so worried about the body changes. And also because the first time around, I was able to lose the weight and I know I can do it, I think that that also gives me a little more confidence the second time around. Okay, I had to quickly readjust something. So question number two is, having been through birth before, are you more or less nervous to give birth again? So for me, I would say that I am less nervous to give birth again because this time around, I am planning on getting an epidural. The first time around, didn't know what to expect, didn't know what my body would be able to handle. And so I tried to do it without any medication, and it wasn't as enjoyable of a process for me because of that. This time around, I know I wanna have an epidural, and so I'm not going to play games with that. And I want to enjoy the experience. So that's my goal, and that's why I'm less nervous. Did you start showing sooner with your second pregnancy? Yes. Way sooner. Did you have gender disappointment? Actually, no. We love boys. We love our son. We were actually hoping to have another boy because we wanted them to be little buds. They're gonna be so close in age. They're gonna be 21 months apart that we just loved the idea of them being brothers and being able to make trouble together. I wonder if we would have had gender disappointment if we had a girl. So that's an interesting question. Maybe, but at the same time, we're just blessed to have a healthy child. A few people asked, do you have more energy in the second trimester versus the first trimester? Absolutely, it's like a totally different world. First trimester, zero energy. Second trimester, you have way more energy. Like, I'm a human again, which is awesome. There's overlap between the trimesters where you're still tired, but like by the middle of the second trimester, yeah, it's a totally different ballgame. Okay, so last question, and this is relevant to this time of year because we are in the high holidays. It's Rosh Hashanah, we're heading into Yom Kippur. How do you manage high holidays plus pregnancy plus little man? So we'll kind of broaden that out to just like busyness and life. I would say that the first trimester was super hard, and that was, you needed family around to help, especially on those days where the morning sickness was just getting ya. But the truth is, your kids will love if you just lie on the floor with them. Even if you can't be super participatory, just being on the floor next to my son while he played made him very happy. And that's how I managed it in the first trimester. But now I would say that, it's really just about time management and scheduling and giving myself the breaks that I need so that I can stay the best mom that I can. So what that means is scheduling in a prenatal massage every month or so, or however often. I've had one prenatal massage, but still. Like taking breaks as needed or taking naps if I can. Going to sleep early because I know I'm gonna wake up early, and treating my son's energy as exercise. Like, I have to chase him around. I don't really have to go for walks most times because by the end of the day, just by having a toddler, I've gotten 6,000 steps in. So that's a pretty positive way to look at it. And, it's fun. I get to include him even though he doesn't really know, but trying to talk to him about, you're gonna have a baby brother and you guys are gonna be friends, and aren't you excited to meet your baby brother? That kind of thing has been really special. I would say that being pregnant with a toddler is a challenge, but it's also a really beautiful time that I get to enjoy him before we have the next one. So that is my second trimester update. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Are you pregnant? Are you having children right now? When are you due? Or if you aren't, did you learn anything about pregnancy that you didn't know before? I'd love to know your thoughts. If you haven't already joined my Substack, I would love if you would head over there because you can join our book club as well as get access to exclusive articles and a bunch of other content. So please subscribe and hit that notification bell, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!